Marijuana is a drug, Diablo is a plant, and the government says they want to help us. Mobs and cops all over the place, throwing their power trips, extended dicks in our face. Politicians in a brand new suit, and if they want some expense, they just take it from you. I got a problem with a rich white man standing there thinking he can tell me what I can and can't do. We're living in tyranny. Pop open a Budweiser, watch some TV. Marijuana is a drug, Diablo is a plant, and the government says they want to help us. Well, the home of the brave is breeding video brats, brainwashed and lethargic. We've been living like rats. It's our job, it's our responsibility to do what it takes to make sure the kids are free. So sitting around witching or pitching a bitch don't change a thing in this terrible situation. I know in our evolution, it's time once again for revolution, cause Diablo's a drug, marijuana is a plant, and the government is trying to smoke us. Freedom, freedom, what I'm talking about. We gotta go in and get it, cause it don't come out of the president or his pretty little wife. We gotta make the change, do it for our life. I tell you one more bit of news. We hold the power inside to recreate and choose. We don't have to be enslaved to the government clan. They're in our face, freedom's in our hands. La 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 la.
Let our people grow. Can you say that? Let our people grow.
Hemp hasn't always been considered the bad boy of the herb family. For example, 200 years ago, we might have seen Ben Franklin pulling into Martha's Vineyard, hoping to find George Washington at home. The first stop in his tireless quest for more paper fiber. Hemp played a major role in the achievement of colonial independence and was a part of everyday life.
George, still stiff as a fresh starched shirt, I see.
And you, Ben, healthy and still plump from all your fine indulgences, I see.
George, only you could be eloquent enough to call me a glutton and still make it sound like a compliment.
And in how many ways has the good Lord been active in your life these days?
I would call it an act of God if I could get enough paper to run my new almanac. But I would consider it a small miracle if Pumbaa could fix this.
Oh, surely. Have you talked to Thomas Jefferson? I hear his new strain of Indian hemp has made him the biggest dealer in the colony.
I've heard some good things about the flower of the Indian hemp.
Here's one that I grew from Tom's strain.
Sticky.
5,000 years of cultivation for hashish.
I understand it works best if it's rendered seedless.
Yes, I know. I was late in pulling my males this season.
Shame, George. Not pulling your males does not make good sense.
Hemp for Victory, the 1942 movie, was a concerted effort by the Department of Agriculture and the Department of Defense to encourage farmers to grow more hemp for America's industrial needs. This is a short clip taken from that movie.
Long ago, when these ancient Grecian temples were new, hemp was already old in the service of mankind. For thousands of years even then, this plant had been grown for cordage and coarse cloth in China and elsewhere in the East. For centuries prior to about 1850, all the ships that sailed the western seas were rigged with hempen rope and sails. For the sailor, no less than the hangman, hemp was indispensable. A 44-gun frigate, like our cherished old Ironsides, took over 60 tons of hemp for rigging. including an anchor cable 25 inches in circumference. The Conestoga wagons and prairie schooners of pioneer days were covered with hempen canvas. Indeed, the very word canvas comes from the Arabic word for hemp. In those days, hemp was an important crop in Kentucky and Missouri. Then came cheaper imported fibers for cordage, like jute, sisal, and manila hemp, and the culture of hemp in America declined. But now, with Philippine and East Indian sources of hemp in the hands of the Japanese, and shipment of jute from India curtailed, American hemp must meet the needs of our Army and Navy as well as of our industries. In 1942, patriotic farmers, at the government's request, planted 36,000 acres of seed hemp, an increase of several thousand%. The goal for 1943 is 50,000 acres of seed hemp. Thus, hemp, Cannabis sativa, the old standby cordage fiber, is staging a strong comeback. This is Kentucky hemp going into the fire of a mill at Versailles. In the old days, breaking was done by hand, one of the hardest jobs known to man. Now the power breaker makes quick work of it. All such plants will presently be turning out products spun from American-grown hemp. Twine of various kinds for tying, winding armatures, and upholsterers' work. Rope for marine rigging and towing, for hay forks, derricks, and heavy-duty tackle. Light-duty fire hose. Thread for shoes for millions of American soldiers. And parachute webbing for our paratroopers.
And now, Jack Herer.
It grows the biggest and the best and the fastest in most soil and climate conditions and latitudes. It's the healthiest plant on the planet Earth. In fact, it's greater as paper, fiber, fuel, medicine, food, than virtually any other plant on Earth. And if you take out medicine, it's greater than all the other plants on Earth combined. This one plant, the plant that's against the law, hemp, is greater than all the other plants on Earth combined. You couldn't make as much paper, or better paper, or cheaper paper chemically than you can out of hemp. If you took every other annual plant on the planet Earth, you wouldn't equal hemp for paper. If you put it all together, wow, that's pretty heavy. And what plant leaves the ground the healthiest of all the plants that grow on the planet Earth? Wow, it's hemp again. Wow, that's pretty strange that they got hemp outlawed and it's the best paper source by far on Earth. You never need to cut down another tree. And then you find out about fiber. All of you gone back and you've touched the hemp fiber. You've worn hemp clothing. You've seen hemp around the last year or two. It wasn't around 10 years ago, 20 years ago. My partner and I were the only people I knew that had hemp clothing that we had imported from Indonesia. And we found out it was the softest fiber on the earth, the warmest fiber on the earth, the strongest, longest lasting natural fiber on the earth. It grew the healthiest of all the fibers that grow on the planet Earth. Cotton, for instance, uses half of all the chemicals used on the planet Earth to fight pests and weeds. Boll weevils are used on one crop, half of all the chemicals put out by DuPont, Monsanto, and Dow to poison the earth, and there's lots of chemicals put out. Half of those chemicals are used on cotton. Hemp has no enemies. Hemp doesn't need any chemicals to make it grow. Any chemicals to beat the enemies of hemp. There is no enemy of hemp except the incredible ignorance of our politicians and our police. So here you got the #1 paper industry on earth. Wait a second, not just #1, it's greater than all the other possibilities for making paper. If you put them all together, wouldn't even equal a few percentage points of hemp, and none of them are healthier. The healthiest, the biggest, the strongest, the longest lasting cloth fiber on earth is also hemp. Wow. What can you think about next? Well, the #1 food source on the planet Earth, wouldn't you know it? The #1 food source on the earth is the hemp seed. The seed of hemp is the highest of all the 3 million foods on earth in usable protein. There's about 3 million things you could possibly eat on earth. And the highest of all those from the vegetable kingdom in usable protein, the best protein, Ediston protein, in the whole world, of all those 3 million plants, comes from the hemp seed, the marijuana seed.
You're stressed out. You cannot make gamma-linolenic acid to block prostaglandin 2. And that's what it does. And so where did we find it? We found it in a treasure chest of hemp oil. The most delicious oil you can imagine. Has anybody tasted it here? Aha! Great. So you know the sensation. It's as good as peanut butter anytime.
Out of the stalks of the plant. Then you consider the seeds. The seeds give you protein. They also give you something that is very, very rare, and people should really know about it. There are these oils that are in the hemp plant. It is the richest source of these oils. They're called linolenic and linoleic acid and gamma-linolenic acid. These acids are what are called essential fatty acids. They're called essential because they contribute to the lubrication or what have you of our bodies.
Certain percentage of our body is made out of oil, isn't it?
Yes, there's all kinds of oils, but we do not manufacture these essential fatty acids. We have to get them from our foods.
Is that right?
They're in very low supply in potatoes. They're a high supply in pumpkin. They're in a real high supply in flax, if anybody eats flax these days. And they're in a total supply in these 22% of it is these essential acids, which the people who write about it, like Dr. Roberta Hamilton, says that it makes you more intelligent if you can be just fed this because it lubricates your brain. Hemp oil.
Well, hemp was part of the American diet for a long time, wasn't
Yes,
it?
and we called it gruel.
So Ben, this weather vane I've been hearing about.
It helps me calculate more accurately when the ships might come in. And besides which, it saves me the 5-mile walk to the dock every day.
A brisk daily walk's good for the color, Ben.
I'm too busy, with the almanac.
Burning the midnight oil, are you?
What I can get of it, what with the whale oil shortage and all.
During this last shortage, Tom gave me some lamp oil pressed from hemp seed.
He grew enough hemp seed to make oil?
Oh, yes. The harvest from his new strain was just too overwhelming for his workers. He asked me to lend him a hemping hand.
The following is a selection of clips from the classic propaganda film Reefer Madness. They can only speak for themselves.
Well, I'm well acquainted with the Reefer Man. Yeah, Jim, I know the Reefer Man. If I claim I own a portion of the Rockefeller fortune, and you know I just left that Reefer Man. Yeah, I know the Reefer Man. Yeah, I'm well acquainted with the Reefer Man. So if I claim I have $1 billion and I want to trade it to you for $1 million, I just left that Reefer Man. How well I know the Reefer Man. Oh, I'm so well acquainted with the Reefer Man. So if you hear me sneeze, sniff and giggle, start to squirm and wiggle.
What do you want?
Oh, that little reaper man.
Bring me some reefers. Master. Master. Wait, Master. Plate, Master.
Your Honor, in this case, the state waives trial of the defendant, Ralph Wiley. It is convinced that he is hopelessly and incurably insane, a condition caused by the drug marijuana to which he was addicted. It is recommended, Your Honor, that the defendant be placed in an institution for the criminally insane for the rest of his natural life. Defendant counsel joins the state in this request.
And marijuana, I keep talking about marijuana as medicine because my plan is that they have told us this is a dangerous drug for all these years, but they never really explain where this danger is. What is this danger? Well, now we're going to force them to explain the danger because we're proving that it's a beneficial herb that is helping millions and millions of people, not only to stay alive, but to stay mentally well-balanced in a hypocritical society that has demonized their own children, hiding behind family values.
The weed marijuana is grown in every state in the Union. Recently, in the city of Brooklyn, New York, a field of marijuana was found behind a tenement court. The weed was here being cultivated, regularly stripped and dried and sold in schools and at government army posts in and around New York. The dried leaves and berries are ground up and made into cigarettes by a simple hand machine. The deadly narcotic is thus quickly and easily prepared for its market. The sale of marijuana is even more difficult to detect and halt than the traffic in drugs such as opium, morphine, and heroin. More vicious, more deadly even than these soul-destroying drugs is the menace of marijuana. No doubt many of you do not believe that these things do happen, but they cannot happen to you. You may also believe that the facts have been exaggerated.
Urban music. Music in urban music. Motor harmonicas found a letter in their archives from Abraham Lincoln. And Abraham Lincoln wrote to Hohner Harmonicas and said, "Thank you for your fine product, the harmonica, because one of my pleasures in life is to sit on the back porch and smoke a hemp cigarette and play the harmonica."
On medical use of marijuana and what if any steps you're taking on that?
Well, I, as the Surgeon General, am not really taking any steps on the medical use of marijuana. I want you to, what I want to say about the use of marijuana, I feel that marijuana should be, the medicinal properties of marijuana should be evaluated, and I think there's a drug company that has done that. Then it should be passed or approved by the FDA like any other drug, and then it would be available for order by their physician, just like any other drug. So I feel if we're going to talk about the medicinal uses of marijuana, that we should really follow the same standard of practice that we would for any other drug that we use in this country.
Eat good food, everybody. Know that hemp is a part of that. It's organic, it's natural, but get off all them other drugs because it'll wear you out. How many cigarette smokers do we have out here? Oh, man, 500,000 people die of cigarettes every year. Of all the illegal drugs, only 5,000 a year. and right there on the package it says, "I will kill you, fool." And you smoke anyway. That's right. You ever see the Camel on Camel cigarettes on the box? That's not a camel, that's a horse with a tumor. Yeah? You didn't know that, did you? So that's why all that cigarettes, alcohol is killing folks. Marijuana never killed nobody. And cigarettes are legal. And they tell you it's not like other drugs because it's legal. If they make it illegal, people will kill each other over cigarettes. That's more addicting than anything. They even now put chocolate in cigarettes to make it more addicting, more nicotine to get you hooked. But they don't want to glamorize marijuana because marijuana makes you think.
This is one of the most important subjects that we're going to face in our lifetimes, is the re-legalization of the #1 plant resource on Earth.
Okay, great.
This is a copy of the Declaration of Independence here, printed on hemp paper as it was then. Only the originals, the ones that stayed in the...
Now, the original is on parchment. I mean, the original
all
two
the
drafts.
copies that were actually signed were on hemp paper.
Right.
They made them on parchment for preserving them.
Now, the stiffness of this paper, that's what I think this is parchment, but that's real heavy hemp paper.
This is real
heavy
hemp paper
from
Northern California. This was made out of the illegal marijuana crop
Richard,
here.
a few years ago I told somebody that the Constitution was printed on hemp paper. They made a silly joke, something to the effect, well, don't tell the hippies, they'll try to roll it up and smoke it. Yeah, but tell us the truth about that. What is compared to the hemp products and the flower itself?
None of this stuff will get you high. This is just a stalk of the hemp plant. Marijuana is the flowers, and we can... Okay, this is a real important aspect of what I'm talking about here. This is wood from the hemp plant. This is after the fiber has been removed from the outside of the plant.
Well, it looks like firewood. I can go home
These
and burn.
these sticks are 77% cellulose, and anything that can be made from fossil fuels, oil, coal, and natural gas, can be made from this wood. It's a carbon source. This is the fiber things. Now, these building materials are one thing people don't think of, but pressed board you can make out of hemp.
Well,
you can build houses out of it, and you can... It's very light. Could be shipped around. Of course, here's the raw fiber. We have fiber from Spain, France, Russia, China, so on. And again, some yarn that's very, very soft.
That's what they opened Hemp for Victory with, like the yarn hanging down, don't they? And then they pull it aside.
Okay, and then we have tennis shoes and all these clothes made out of hemp.
Tennis shoes.
Yeah, hemp tennis shoes. So okay, here's another thing, of course, is the plastics. All the plastics could be made out of hemp. It's a carbon source, just like fossil fuels.
Right.
It's a schematic of some of the things that hemp was grown during the war. It was made into many things. It can be made into the seeds. The seed and the stalk are used. The seed is a source of protein and oil. The stalk are a source of fiber and herds. And those things are in industries, and the industries are many. Food industries, health industry, paint and varnish industry, biofuels and building materials. We're going to all see some of this, but let me just go
Now,
through
that
this.
schematic deals with all aspects of it, or more just the oil aspect?
Textiles, paper pulp industry, and chemical feedstocks.
Today, most of these products are not being produced by renewable resources.
Absolutely
is that the problem?
not. Most of these things now come from cotton, which has a lot of problems environmentally. Paper pulp industry, which is trees, the chemical and biofuels from fossil fuels. So you can see some of the industries. According to the health industry, this hemp rope comes from Denmark, one of the only places that makes good hemp, saline quality hemp
Now,
rope still.
with this rope, you don't have the trouble with it being all barred and real rough like some of the other
No, you can
materials?
grab hold of it and run your hand down here. It's soft.
Yeah, that's what
Of course, hemp is the strongest and the softest fiber.
Now the famous...
So we have a lot of the history here. This is an 1830 Bible that's made out of recycled ropes and sails. This is what they made paper out of.
1830 this was made?
People turned their clothes in, turned the sails and ropes in, and they pulped them up and made fiber paper out of them, the same kind of paper the Constitution was written
Now,
on.
this book was printed in 1830?
Yes.
But look, the paper is just...
Yes, and it was in San Francisco,
Wow.
even so it's water spotted a little bit, but
How come it's not yellow?
There's hardly a torn page in there.
Yeah.
The car was a 1940 Ford, I believe, and came out in 1941. This particular car was made out of hemp plastic. Henry Ford had a cracking plant at his house in Stone Mountain, Michigan.
Can you get a close-up on this car here? Right there.
The body was made of molded?
Molded plastics. There were other fibers besides hemp, but the plastic was made of hemp fibers and was 10 times stronger than steel on impact. 1,000 pounds lighter than any other car of its day, so it could have saved billions of gallons of fuel.
Was it designed to run off methanol also?
Yeah, it was designed to run on methanol, and Henry Ford had a cracking plant at his house in Stone Mountain, Michigan, so that this car was very important, and this technology is available to us today to... Okay, right here we have a rug. This is a small rug, but you can feel the carpet here, how thick and soft
wow,
it is.
That is nice.
Again, hemp is the softest fiber as well as being the strongest.
Now, I understand.
This is 100% hemp, the backing and everything, so there's no synthetics in this rug at all.
Now,
And their use as energy, because this is one of the big things. Hemp can get us off of fossil fuels. We can really produce all our energy. Wood, this is the wood. We make wood alcohol out of it. And this car right here today off the showroom floor can run on methanol or any mix of methanol, alcohol, or gasoline.
Isn't this about the best producer for methanol there is?
Hemp is the number one producer for fuel. It's the fastest growing plant for biomass fuels, would be the number one fuel. It's renewable. It's sustainable over hundreds of years. We could use this and stop the nuclear madness we have.
We hear.
This is a state-of-the-art hemp village that I've developed. I'm an unemployed aerospace engineer, and I'm also an environmentalist, and I believe that it's high time to grow hemp. Let me show you how it works. This is a hemp farm right here. It produces a high yield of hemp. It's got carbon dioxide controlled, it's got humidity controlled, and it's got recycled nutrients, so the plants would really grow. The home is made out of hemp fiber board, made out of compressed hemp fiber. So literally the home is grown out of hemp. It's a hemp grown home. The vehicle here is running on methanol power, again made out of hemp. And it's also a hybrid. It's got electric power in case you run out of methanol. These solar cells produce excess energy for the car and the house. And if you have a windy day, you could produce extra energy, so you would get a check for staying home and smoking hemp all day.
So we can look backward to this long-cultivated plant for our future fiber needs because of significant new technological breakthroughs in two areas: construction and chemistry. In regards to technological advances in construction, for example, it's now feasible to make construction beams out of waste paper. It's technically feasible. They can do it. It's just a matter of being economically feasible, and it's not at the current price. And as the price of wood-based building product goes up, the attractiveness of alternative-based products for building goes up as well. As to technological advances in chemistry, we are now learning how to crack the hemp oil molecule as we have cracked the earth oil molecule. And anything that we now make from an unsustainable hydrocarbon can be made from a sustainable carbohydrate. The main problem is that we bred generations of petrochemists instead of carbochemists. So they don't often know how to do it. And we could probably even make the glue to bind together the hemp fibers for building products no longer from toxic formaldehyde, but from the hemp plant itself.
This is new stuff. This is made with hemp fiber. It was made at Washington State University. What I was going to say about composites. There's a thing in composites, I may have just said this, I can't remember, but the longer the fiber, the stronger the product. If all things else are equal, when you're making a composite, if the fiber's longer, the product's stronger. We took hemp, we ground it up into a fine grind, the same particle geometry as what they use in the Douglas fir plant when they make it into medium density fiberboard. So I'll give you Maloney, who heads the laboratory at Washington State, their wood engineering laboratory up there, says that well, when we start laying this long fiber together and using modern technology, there's no reason why we can't make something that is the strength of steel out of annual fiber. I mean, this is the potential, and we can take it in many different ways. Because we have made this, Paul's made paper out of it, you know, we can make beams. We can make anything that you make out of a tree.
Tell me, Ben, why haven't we been seeing more of that newspaper that you've been doing?
Quite frankly, Tom, there's been a lot less of that newspaper that I'm doing. With the newsprints being on ration, I just don't have enough paper to put out any volume at all. You know, I've been meaning to ask you, don't you think it would be a good idea if I had my own mill?
Well, if you base that mill and the paper you made out of it on hemp, it certainly would be. I grew so much hemp this year from that hemp strain that after I used all I could, I still had enough left over to pay all my taxes with hemp.
That is
I'm
good
sure it
news.
would grow enough for a mill.
Don't you think that the colonists could be persuaded to grow a little bit more than their mandatory 10%?
Well, I've been writing letters to every farmer I know all over the country here to get them to grow more and more hemp on their land for the colony needs.
You know, if the colonists grew more hemp, we wouldn't need Georgie Porgy.
Natural long sleeve. Also, she has the baggy pants in grass green from Two Star Dog. And on her feet, she's got 100% hemp. 100% hemp Chinese flat slippers from Mindful. Shirt. And he's got the indigo baggies from the Two Star Dog. And also he's got a jean jacket, hemp cotton blend, 55-45 in the indigo. And he's also got his 100% hemp shoes on from Mindful Products. Jacket from Two Star Dog. On his head he's got 100% hemp pillbox hat from Homegrown Hats in the sage green, available in all 7 colors. He's got a sleeveless top in black 55-45 hemp cotton blend from the Two Star Dog. They're in Emeryville, California in the Bay Area. And he's got brown, also available in indigo, grass green, natural in the black. Let's see. Hempstead is another company we're covering here. They're in Costa Mesa. You know all about them. They've got all the pure hemp from the wallets, the backpacks, the hats, and the bushwhackers, the shorts.
Sun crystals. Beautiful. Her top is 100% hemp. Look, throw down, show enough, cut fancy.
It's made by the All Points East people. That's the group in China. This is also the leaf stitch, the technique where they stitch in the pattern prior to tie-dyeing. Okay, the pants are a batik style, and they're made by All Points East. That's a 55% hemp, 45% cotton product. These we found are very durable. They're lightweight. Their vest is made by Two Star Dog. Two Star Dog is a new company that is doing 100% hemp. No, she's shaking her head. The pants are made by Two Star Dog. Sorry about that. The pants are made by Two Star Dog. The vest is made by Ellen Com. Canvas and an American flag. Shows you what a little bit of American ingenuity can do. Cannabist also carries all of the cloths that these products are made from in bulk, so that if you want to dye your own or make it a little more professional, it's a nice sleeveless dress. It's made from the basket weed, which is the 100% hemp. That hemp is imported from China. And I can't tell you who the manufacturer is on that. Oh, this is Materials. This is made by Materials. Materials is a small company in San Luis Obispo.
that is manufacturing products from hemp.
What kind of cookies are we eating today?
Hemp seed.
Chocolate chip hemp seed.
They're chocolate chip hemp seed cookies, and as a matter of fact, hemp seed is only second in nutrition to the soybean. We feel like we could start feeding the homeless, with the hemp seed. You can make lots of food out of it, pancakes and all kinds of stuff.
That's what I'm...
It's a vegetable, and we're showing people how to eat it.
Well, I can't wait.
It's good, nutritious, and tasty.
And if you're not hungry yet, at the table next door, I see appetite stimulator utensils. We'll have to take a look at that table in a moment, too.
Man, this is hemp seed oil. Great for salads and for your wok fries and for putting on your potatoes and your toast. It's made from the hemp seeds, the greatest source of protein and oil on the planet. Hemp seeds contain the second highest quantity of protein of any plant food, second only to soybeans. But unlike the soybeans, they got very digestible protein. Soy protein is hard for people to digest, where this is the 8 essential amino acids all lined up in the right amounts. Recommended food for people suffering from malnutrition. That's why we're advocating the use of hemp seeds as being one of the cures for world hunger. And we take the seeds and we make oil. We make 2 grades of oil. We got the massage oil and we got the high quality oil here. This is vacuum processed in a California mill. Same technology that they've invented for handling flax oil.
Let the joy jump and the good times roll. Let the pleasure pop. Now let's take a stroll. Light up. Let's all get mellow. Light up. Get smoke in your eyes. Light up. Get hip, I say, fella. Light up. Say, what is this jive? Light up. Let's all get ready. Light up. I know how you feel. Light up. Now don't be a Freddy. You'll find what I mean in any old field. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Blow. 8, 9, 10, and then 11. Light up. Now get your day going. Blaze up. I'm saying that's the thing. Light up. Don't let that man get you. Just pop on your cig and blow the smoke lane.
Boxes, man. What do you mean? Those are
petitions.
How many of them?
50,000.
50,000 petitions.
50,000, yeah.
And where are those going?
These are going to Federal Building tomorrow. As many of them as we can turn into boards. Those 5,000 boards, and those 60,000 handouts, and those 4,000 letters, and those 10,000 voter registration cards.
My goodness. These are all going out to the rally tomorrow and being dispersed throughout the city to the people?
Yeah, not all of them, but yeah, a vast majority are going to be dispersed to the people.
So this is part of the idea of the rally tomorrow is partly to get massive movement on these petition drives.
Not just partly, massively to get movement on this petition drive.
4 o'clock Sunday, Be Real will be there. I'll speak to the crowd.
Oh my God!
Packets. These are work packets for the volunteers to go out and collect the signatures. They had something like 20,000 of them to put together for this movement. Of course, they have to collect 500,000 signatures just to get it on the ballot. They're not quite there yet. They need actually 350,000, but they need for 350,000 signatures. They figure they have to overshoot by about 150,000 signatures in order to get all legitimate people signing.
Good. I got a lot of warriors, brothers and sisters coming from all over to sign up to help us to petition to get this on the ballot in '94. It's not just pot anymore. It's the #1 source of paper, fiber, fuel, and medicine.
Are you getting very much positive input?
Yes. And I'm going to register. What's your name? Brandon. I'm going to register
Right on, Brandon. We just talked to Brandon a little while ago.
Yeah.
Just learning. He's a super warrior for the cause.
Great. Well, I'm going to register him to vote so he can sign the petition.
Do you get comments from people as they go by?
Sure. They say, and where can I get the petition? I want to help.
Right
and
on.
I say, right here.
Well, you can come get your boards. You can come for training. Any of you the first to come up and get a board? Are you afraid? It's all you have to do. And we got boards when we run out of them down here. There's enough for about 150 signatures each. Come to the office in Sherman Oaks. Come and be a part. Go to the extravaganza. Have a part. Have a movie about you, because nobody in history has ever done anything like that. But you have to get up. What's pot? Main table is in the middle walk there towards the front across from the Hemp Museum. Pick up a petition board. Come with us. Come petition with us. 150 signatures. If you get the signatures, you can go to the extravaganza. And you go to the extravaganza, it'll be a good party. It'll be 3 days of this.
This is Jack's book, The Emperor Wears No Clothes. This is the history of marijuana's prohibition. This is the German edition. It's also in French. It's soon to be in Japanese this year. And hopefully it's going to be in Dutch language as well as the Hungarian language. They want to translate it. And we're also getting it in the Spanish language this year.
And a video with foreign subtitles.
I don't know about that one.
Oh.
Are you guys going to subtitle, huh?
Yes,
all right, that'll be great. How are you going to subtitle me? Yeah.
We're going to work on it, I'll tell you that. Hey, Michael, what's this?
Okay. Hemp seed. This is legal hemp seed. It's sterilized by the government, so it won't grow. But it's legal to have. It's a food source. Protein, second only to soybeans. It still has its oil content, so it can still be used to make plastics.
What I try to do with the book Hemp Lifeline to the Future is to give people a real vision of how hemp is part of this mixture of developments that are going to be necessary to make this civilization capable of continuing on for future generations. And again, there's a lot of people who point to the problems, but not very many who can show you the solution and prove that it works, which we are able to do, and I think that this book amply illustrates that.
I think it does too. I suggest everyone pick up a copy of Hemp Lifeline to the Future by Chris Conrad. Thank you, Chris, for all your work.
Tom, I've been doing some more experimenting with electricity.
Didn't you write me about that, Ben? Something to do with thunderstorms and a kite?
That's right. I fly kites in thunderstorms, and I'm convinced that I can harness the electricity from the lightning and bring it right down the court.
Fascinating.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't keep the kite up in the air in a thunderstorm. The string breaks.
Oh, you have to use a finer hemp string from the strain that we've been growing lately.
I've been using the hemp that you gave me a couple of years ago.
This is the special one we got from China.
That's the one you nearly lost your life trying to get that out.
A few agents of mine almost lost their lives. It seems the Emperor of China would kill anyone who would try to smuggle this strain of hemp out. But we got it into Turkey and in France, and I brought it over here, and it's doing really well, Ben.
That's interesting. I'd like to try that. Do you know, how well is it doing? Is it producing more per acre than anything you've used before?
More abundant than anything we've ever used. A lot more, and so much more, in fact, that we've had to remanufacture, practically reinvent the hemp brake.
The hemp brake?
Local level in San Francisco, after the Proposition P won by such an overwhelming mandate, a group of AIDS patients and cancer patients started what they call a cannabis buyers club. And that is a club open to anybody who has HIV, multiple sclerosis, cancer, epilepsy, and the list goes on. They have to have a note from their doctor, and they are welcome into a gorgeous salon. And it's open 3 days a week, 4 hours a day, and they are treated with respect, and that marijuana is checked for efficacy, poisoning, mold, and pesticides. And that club has been operating now for 2 years and serves over 500 AIDS patients and cancer patients. We have doctors going to this club, tracking the patients as far as how it is helping these people. And in many ways, we have a scientific study going, an underground speakeasy for AIDS patients going in San Francisco. And
there's millions of people who use it medically. There's millions of people who use it for other reasons also. But I'm here for first things first, which are the sick people. Leave the sick alone. Get your politics out of medicine. Get the cops off our backs and let us live. Now this can happen. This can happen because we've got people and we've got the truth. The truth can set us free. We can open up the jails with the truth, but we have to unite. One person can make a difference, but many, many thousands of people can make a big difference. And that's what we're all about here today, making a big difference by uniting with power from the people, for the people. We, the people, don't want war. We don't need war. We don't need war in our homes.
There's no question about it. Now we need this seed so very much for our kids, for better education for our kids, because this seed will nourish them, give them a better brain to think. It'll give them the essential fatty acids and the proteins they need for proper dental arches, for earlobes. Believe it or not, most of our kids are being born without earlobes. This is crazy. You know what? In Brazil, there's a new kind of child down there. It's being born with about 1/3 of the brain gone. Why? Because they're deprived of nutritional elements essential for that brain to develop. Now, come on. We could plant this world with a hemp. We could get the whole thing back into genetic stride here. We need this seed. We need to have a curriculum of hemp without question.
People would say, Mr. Harry, you're crazy. You can't make sails and ropes and flags and books and Bibles out of marijuana.
Using hemp for female monthly problems, PMS mainly, is the best thing I have ever found. If I make a tea out of it with some sage and some mint, it relaxes me. It stops my blood from rushing through my veins at 100 miles an hour. And even smoking it a little helps me relax. Queen Victoria used this, and her doctor documented it, and he was one of the great researchers of the time on the cannabis plant.
The Marijuana Tax Act was designed to keep you and I from competing with the corporations for fuel, fiber, paper, food, and medicine. All of the things that we need to survive. And when you wake up that second week in November and you light up a doobie like this and you know that I will not be one of 8 people that are legal in the country, but that every citizen of California will be free to do the same, then we'll really have a celebration. But we gotta begin today and put your life on hold. Each one of you, I swear to you, the rewards will be beyond your wildest imagination. I know they have been for me already, and they're gonna get greater the minute I see that we have put through this California Hemp Initiative. It is the greatest thing happening.
Initiative is not going to make law automatically. But if you could work a day, Jack's been working for years. Nobody's ever going to bother Elvie about smoking pot. She's too famous now. The government gives it to her. She still understands she's got to work, because 40,000 people with glaucoma are going to go blind this year. None of them have to. 40,000 people with glaucoma are going to go blind next year. None of them have to. Hundreds of thousands of AIDS patients who could actually live a decent life for 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 more years are not going to, because they're afraid to buy a little smoke and smoke a little herb. They're afraid to do what most of us are doing almost every day. It's not enough to be defiant by smoking. You have to take a few minutes.
Crime of blood, of alienation, of tax loss, the destruction of our cities, the destruction of our people. This is one of the hardest issues for me and for you since the Vietnam War. It is a quagmire like Vietnam. There is no military solution in the long run to this madness. It's even worse than Vietnam in this sense, because you can't pack up and withdraw. You can't go home. We are home. So I wish you well. Certainly in my campaign, I will speak with respect of the efforts that you're making. I will try to raise the issue of the morality, the double standards, the economic benefits, the total political and moral blindness of our political leadership, and challenge them to debate these issues. Thank you very much.
May not be possible to do that legally, but we're giving them their chance. Anyway,
I'm here because I think we should all be rich right now, and I'm fed up with the political process that deprives us of the opportunity to make $500 billion amongst ourselves. I hope a few of you have some use for that money, because what we're going to need to do with that money is to rebuild the infrastructure of this society, which has gone sour, which is in a decadence that was brought about by a political structure dominated by petrochemical and timber interests. That is a balance that has to be changed. And when I look around here today, I see these flags at half-mast. Well, personally, yeah, somebody raised one in the middle. That's because the flags are at half-mast because we've had 57 years of prohibition. And the one in the middle has been raised because enough is enough, and it's time to make a change.
I'm co-author of the Hoover Resolution. The Hoover Resolution calls for an objective federal commission on drug policy. That is, all we want the government to do is to show all of the evidence to the people. All of the evidence about hemp, all the evidence about medicine, all the evidence about the millions of people that are going to prison for no good reason. Let's put it on C-SPAN, and then when everybody has seen the evidence, let's decide what a good drug policy should be. Now, in support of this idea, we have already signed up 7 mayors, including the mayors of San Francisco, Oakland, and San Jose, as well as Minneapolis and Baltimore. We have a number of chiefs of police in favor of this. Yes, we have chiefs of police, half a dozen of them in favor of an objective federal commission on drug policy. We also have the entire probation department of San Bernardino County. We are getting law enforcement on our side to change the drug laws. That's what we are doing.
See, when I first came to America, I came from Iran, guys. We have no jury trials there. The government, if you smoke pot or hash or whatever, they just kill you. They just kill you. They say, you know, we don't need a jury trial. Why do we have a trial by jury in America? What makes America special from the rest of the world? Why is it people like me want to come to America, the land of the free? Because we do have trial by jury, and jury can veto bad laws.
Activist Ron Kaczynski can't seem to get arrested, although it's certainly not for lack of trying. The 29-year-old Kaczynski is the founder of a group called Hemp Across America, and last April he sent non-inhaling President Bill Clinton a quarter pound of marijuana by mail. Kaczynski was hoping to be arrested for that act in order to challenge the constitutionality of laws prohibiting the use of marijuana, a natural herb which has medical uses in the treatment of afflictions ranging from glaucoma to AIDS, and the decriminalization of which has been recommended by such conservatives as William F. Buckley Jr. and former Secretary of State George Shultz. However, upon receiving Kaczynski's package of pot, the White House politely acknowledged receipt but declined to prosecute. So Kaczynski recently mailed off a half pound of marijuana to Clinton, along with educational literature and a pair of hemp fiber jogging shorts, all neatly wrapped in a U.S. flag. He also taped himself doing all of this.
First, I'm going to shove it into the jogging shorts. And I'm going to wrap it in the jogging shorts. Stuff it right down there. Half a pound of marijuana seeds are going in there. This is the book, Hemp, Lifeline to the Future, an absolutely excellent book.
Kaczynski held a press conference in front of the White House last Friday at which he handed guards a copy of that tape and demanded that they arrest him. However, the Clinton administration, headed by a man alleged to be the first rock and roll president, shows no inclination to rationalize the current drug law morass. That's the news for now. We'll be back with more later here on MTV.
MTV News.
Confiscation will be the #1 priority of all law enforcement agencies by order of the Attorney General. The confiscation of real properties without due process is increasing dramatically. Because of mandatory minimum sentencing under current drug laws, most of the prison population consists of non-violent drug offenders.
Ah, good, Ben. Pumbaa just finished that repair for you.
Ah, good.
What is it, Ben? You look a bit queasy.
It's the ride. It sometimes upsets my stomach. I've been thinking of improving the ride by adding certain springs to an already designed body. I think
Ben,
that I could...
how about brewing up a cup of indica tea for that nausea?
I thought you'd never ask. And a pinch of my pipe?
Not only a pinch for your pipe, but we'll send some home with you as well. Pumbaa, why don't you fill a satchel for Ben from the drying rack?
No satchel, Mr. Washington.
Never mind, Pumbaa. Just put them in here.
Let's go brew that tea for you.
Ah, the indica tea.
Mr. Franklin, don't forget your pack. Mr. Franklin, don't forget your pack. Mr. Franklin, don't forget your pack.
There is an herb, and some folks don't know how it can heal us people. They only know it keeps us high. Well, now this herb is also a good medicine. I would list all the things that it cures and helps, but this song of mine would die. But the men and their profit margins, they say no. Yeah, they'll mix it in with heroin, but a beer and you're good to go. Well, I say, we cannot fear. And in time we can free our minds, and that's what I'm doing here. Freeing our minds, freeing our lives. I smoke green bud, and this is not a crime. I don't get violent, and I don't tell all our children lies. And when people drink, bad things tend to happen. All but no one in history from smoking green bud has ever died. But the men and their profit margins, they still say no. Yeah, they'll mix it in with heroin, but a beer and you're good to go. Well, I say, we cannot fear. And in time we can free our lives, and that's what I'm doing here. It's what we're all doing here. Either way you look at it, prohibition is totally wrong. What next? What next? They gonna try and tell me that I can't sing my song. Oh, well, Lord have mercy on this controversy. Everything in this song is truth. And that's why we're all sitting here bringing this message through. One more time, there is an herb.
I don't know. I don't know how to keep fighting for this, teaching people this, but you got to teach yourselves. You guys, listen, you guys have to be warriors for your own freedom. You can't depend on me or anybody else to win this freedom for you. This freedom comes from our willingness to put our act on the line and teach people all the comprehensive information that we've learned about hemp as fun, as paper, as fiber, as fuel.
Bye.